August 30th, 1988, the Washington Post published an article that said, for the second time in a month, Clifton Earl Cobb was standing before a D.C. Superior Court commissioner on a charge of murder. But this time, the angry commissioner was not about to let the suspect go as he had done the first time. "Read my lips," Commissioner Morton Berg told the attorney for Cobb at the bail hearing yesterday that was packed with spectators. "I am holding Cobb without bail." On August 3rd, Berg allowed Cobb, who had been charged with second-degree murder while armed, to be released on a $25,000 surety bail. Cobb was rearrested this weekend and charged with first-degree murder while armed in a slaying Saturday night. In both slayings, the dying victims identified Cobb as the assailant, according to Superior Court documents. The district generally allows bond for defendants who have ties to the community unless they are considered a danger to themselves or the community. Cobb, who was convicted in 1984 of possession with intent to distribute cocaine and possession of PCP, has been described by police sources as the leader of a drug group that they believe have been involved in an intense drug war this summer with a notorious rival gang. Cobb, 25, of 1219 Owens Place, Northeast, was arrested early Sunday, several hours after the shooting death of Eric Lee Carter, 20, who was found by police at 11:45 p.m. Saturday behind 1200 Megas Place Northeast in the Trinidad neighborhood. He had been shot several times, according to police sources. As he lay dying, Carter identified his assailant as Cobb and Donnell Boone, 18, of 1250 Penn Street, Northeast. According to police sources, Cobb and Boone were arrested several hours later at Cobb's home and charged with first-degree murder while armed. Berg also ordered Boone held without bond. According to police sources, Cobb and Boone are members of a drug group who sell cocaine and crack in the Trinidad area near a college in Northeast Washington. The drug war allegedly touched off June 23rd when the alleged leader of the Trinidad group, Brandon Terrell, was shot to death by rival group members in front of hundreds of onlookers. Terrell, 18, of the 1500 block of West Virginia Ave Northeast, was shot twice in his back, and as he lay wounded on the ground, his assailant stood over him and shot him several more times, police said. No one has been charged in that killing. Several more shootings followed the Terrell killing, and the leaders of the two rival drug groups apparently met in June to call a truce, law enforcement sources said. But the shootings continued, and early August 3rd, members of the 5th Police District found Derek L. Clark, 28, of the 1200 block of Oak Street Northeast, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds in front of 1101 16th Street Northeast. Clark, who was allegedly a member of the drug group that the Trinidad gang had been battling, had been shot at least 5 times in his back, according to Superior Court documents. Clark was taken to D.C. General Hospital, where he identified Cobb as the man who had shot him, in a dying declaration that he gave to the homicide detectives, according to court documents. Cobb was arrested shortly after that at his home. The pretrial service agency recommended at the time that Cobb, who lives with his mother and had been a stock boy at the Benning Road Crab House in Northeast, be subject to detention before trial, but Berg ordered him released on a $25,000 surety bond. Carter, of the 500 block of Florida Ave Northeast, was believed by police to belong to a drug gang that has been feuding with the Trinidad group. Shortly before he died, police say Carter identified Cobb as one of his assailants. It really hurt me when they killed Stan, nobody knew who to shoot. We ain't even have a plan, he sold me my first gun. He held my first son, if I was with him shooting it out, bitch we the one. I shed tears for my niggas who ain't here. They tattooed and spit that real shit to remember him, bitch I'm that dude. Catch a op and spit on his baby daughter, I'm that rude. Right at 3 o'clock, as soon as he get out of school. You killed my dude, I don't give a fuck about you. I hope somebody killed you in case I never found. What up, though, America? Welcome back to another installment in my DC Masterminds series. You feel me? This is Cobb, Cliff Cobb, the Trinidad mob, man. I heard they was the deepest bunch of killers running around during that time. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily the most ruthless, but the deepest for sure, for sure. The Trinidad mob cats, you feel me? But dig this, before we get into that, man, anybody smoke these Splitterellos, man? I heard they was black owned way back, and they $6 for $1. You feel me? $6 for $1. I don't even like blunts, but $6 for $1. A young man asked me in the gas station, what them smoke like? I said, I don't care. They're $6 for $1. You better get you some. You feel me? Hey, it just is what it is, my dog. Now dig this here. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the article, in the read off in the beginning, it said that Brandon Terrell, which is, you know, Lil Gary's brother and shit, excuse my language, Lil Gary's brother or whatnot, it said that he was the leader of the Trinidad mob. That is not true, as you will probably all know. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the leader of the Trinidad mob, but his death did cause one of the bloodiest wars in DC between Rifle Crew and the Trinidad mob. You know what I'm saying? Funny thing, the guy that killed Brandon, his name was Nut. Now, he grew up in Trinidad and was friends with Brandon at one point. A lot of people didn't know that. And Brandon's first body was a dude named Ant Lee. Over some money he owed the mob or owed him, or whatever the case may be. And Ant Lee's last words to Brandon was, "Why you doing this to me?" Now, when Nut shot Brandon's last words to Nut was, "Why you doing this to me?" That's crazy, man. That's some crazy karma circling around the earth, ain't it? For it to happen like that. If what they say is true, you know what I'm saying? Urban legend, maybe 100% truth. But it's just what I heard, you feel me? Now, another funny story about Brandon Terrell. They say him and a guy named Antonio from Montello Ave, who drove a teal-colored Maxima. They got into a car accident at a light, and Brandon jumped out and started stabbing the dude that hit him. Both of them charged with attempted murder. Now, 2 weeks down the line, the Antonio dude is coming out of carryout on Montello, I believe, and a junkie walk up on him and shoot him in the forehead or whatnot. And they had his body laid half in the restaurant, half out the restaurant. And they say that was the cover for something called City Under Siege. It was the cover for something called City Under Siege. Man, comment below if you already know what I'm talking about. If you know, I tried to look it up, I couldn't find it. You know, City Under Siege, though, they said that was the cover for that. Now, let's get into them Cobbs, man. You feel me? Because they say Cliff Cobb was a breadwinner, kingpin. You know what I'm saying? With connections to Poe. Now, he had to connect, I guess that was the solid connection. They both was supposed to connect down there in D.C., but that was his solid connection or whatnot. Roy and Cliff was the first connects in D.C. that Poe had around 86, 87, so they say. Now, Roy was very tight with Frey, so they would get some dope from Frey and some dope from Poe. You feel me? Because Frey was more into heroin, and Poe only dealt with coke or whatnot. So I guess, you know, they dibbled and dabbled both ways or what have you, or whichever way the money was coming mostly. If it was more in heroin, they'd go with Frey. I don't know. Either way, you feel me? They was getting down with both of them, put it like that. Now, Cliff got shot and paralyzed in the late 80s, I believe. And at that time, they was getting most of their work from Poe. You feel me? According to my sources. Now, the guy that shot Cliff, they said was gunned down within hours of Cliff shooting or whatnot, with them being paralyzed. And that's crazy. That just lets you know how fast them boys work, how deep them boys was too. You feel me? They ain't play that. But when it comes to DC, they say it don't get no more gangster than Roy Cobb. Say it don't get no more gangster than Roy Cobb when it comes to DC. He had no problem killing anyone, anywhere, at any time, broad daylight or whatever. He just didn't care, you know. They said he was said to have been extorting Alpo at one point or another around the years 89 or 90, I believe. He had a real reputation for being a cutthroat. You know, now mind you, Jawbreaker was a part of Roy and them's crew. You feel me? And everybody talking about how Jawbreaker and them did whatever they did to Poe and tried to kidnap him and this and that and the other. You know what I'm saying? That's just an example of how deep that Trinidad thing ran. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy too when you think about it, but that's a whole different episode. You know what I mean? Now, they say this dude from New York who hung around Roy around the time he got killed, Roy's people thought he had something to do with it. So within 24 hours of Roy being murdered, they gunned the dude from New York down, thinking he had something to do with the murder or what have you. That's crazy too, when all along it was the Murder Inc. dudes. You feel me? And that's crazy. That was good. Okay, we're gonna talk about it. You know what I mean? Now the Murder Inc. dudes were really responsible because Roy's girl was named Fuzzy. That's crazy too. How many Fuzzies is it running around DC? Now this ain't Poe Fuzzy. This supposed to have been a real pretty girl from Dunbar named Fuzzy or whatnot. And Kevin Graves' partner, Big Rodney, started calling her on the low. And got scared that Roy found out and Roy was gonna kill him. So they plotted to kill Roy. You know what I'm saying? Now, the dude that they got to kill Roy, what was his name, man? What was his name, man? The dude that they got to kill Roy, his name was Oscar Vale. A straight A student, worked at a bank, you know, became a very, very efficient killer in the DC street life. He was originally from Georgia, though. That's the hitman that they killed, they paid to kill Roy. And that hitman, Oscar Vale, eventually turned on them. I think the feds got him for like nine bodies or so. And he flipped and turned on Murder Inc. And he the reason all of that crew failed, basically, or whatnot. I thought that was funny too, you know. But they were also scared of Roy's right-hand man. Roy had a right-hand man with like 10, 15 bodies on him. What was his name? His name was Man from Wiley Place. Say he was a real heavy hitter too. You know what I'm saying? So after they knocked Roy off, they had to go at him too. You feel me? Because they figured he was going to retaliate for Roy's murder. What they did to him was they sent a pretty girl with a hot shot or some rat poison. Crazy, man. I done heard too many stories of killers going out off the hot shot. You know what I mean? Pretty girl and some bad dope. That's crazy, man. But in the end, though, them boys were supposed to be some straight murderers, all about their business, man. Roy Cobb, Trinidad mob, man. Let me know what you think, man. Ozone O, Up for Debate TV. And you already know who it is, my baby. When you see what you see, man. God bless the real.